Hey, what's up guys? I'm Jason Heine. This is the Emulator Review. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hey, guess what? I'm back. I'm sorry for the long delay in getting videos up here. You guys know how life is. Sometimes things just get in the way and it just kind of had to take a back seat for a little bit. But I am back and I wanted to make a big splash with my return by showcasing my arcade games. I already showed you my game room, so I might as well just follow suit and hit you up with the arcades. Now, I grew up in the arcades, late 80s and then big time in the 90s is really when I got into it. My arcade collection isn't huge. I've only got 5 arcade games, but to me, they're arcade games that really speak to me. They're games that really shaped, my gaming life. They're games that really stood out, games that had a huge impact, not just with me. I mean, really, these are cult classic video games. So I cannot wait to show you them and talk about them. But this is going to be a multi-part video where in this video, I'm just going to show you the games and just do a quick overview of them. And then in the following videos, I'm going to go in depth and talk about the games. I will say that each game has a little something special about it, a little Jason Heine flair, if you will. Everything in here is original, or as original as possible, with new parts or new old stock parts. I wanted to keep the games as original as possible. My whole thing was I wanted the games to be exactly as when they were shipped, back when they were brand new. So I went through and some of them I didn't have to do too much to, but for instance, like Mortal Kombat, I had to really rework a lot of it, even with some of the bracing and the wood, to get it back up to par. But I'll talk about each one of those specifically in later videos. So I'm going to go ahead and just go down the list here and talk about each one. Mortal Kombat 2, released in 1993 by Midway. This is by far my favorite Mortal Kombat out of the entire Mortal Kombat universe. I don't have any shame in saying that, and I think a lot of people agree with me. Mortal Kombat is one of those games that really started controversy in the fighting realm, in the video game industry, and really had parents and CEOs and everyone else out there in a big tizzy. Even government was looking at it. This is one of the games that really got the ESRB out there for rating of the games. But I mean, it's very violent. It looks amazing, and there's something about this game that really stands out that I think only exists here. And other Mortal Kombats just don't have. Of course, we have now flashier graphics, better audio. I mean, different fighting mechanics. They're all great games. Mortal Kombat 2, for me, is really where it's at. So this is Mortal Kombat 2, released in 1993. And next down the list, we have the amazing Killer Instinct in this beautiful Midway dedicated arcade cabinet. This was released in 1994 and put out by Rare and Nintendo. I'm telling you, there's just something about this game that is so magical. And I have a great review of this game. Check it out on my channel. Do people still do this? I'll put a link here. Or wherever. If you're on your cell phone, you probably feel dumb because there's nothing there, right? Anyway, but check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. I have a great review of this game. There's so much I can say about this game. One of the first arcade games to use a hard drive, full 3D rendered backgrounds, of course, done by Rare. Rare and Nintendo, and then Midway. I mean, what a beautiful combination. When magic happens, shit like this happens. So it's just a really magical game, and I love it so much. There's so much I can say about this game, and I just love that I have it. It's one of the games that I was originally always wanting to get. I said someday I will have Killer Instinct in my collection in arcade form. I'm so happy to have this. And as you can see, probably can't see it too far from there, and I'll get a little closer in later in the video. I have some modifications done to this game too, and I'm excited to talk about it, some arcade mods. I've redone the audio system in this completely. I've also redone the audio in Mortal Kombat. I failed to mention that, but some really cool stuff there that I'll get into in later videos, so I'm really excited about that. There's all sorts of good stuff inside here that you cannot see. Next, we got, of course, Killer Instinct 2. Now, not as popular as Killer Instinct 1. They really wanted to build upon the Killer Instinct fighting engine and fighting mechanic, but the game just never really took off. By the time this was released, we had other games that were really blowing up in the arcades. Of course, this is 1996. We also had consoles. We had the Nintendo 64. which was just recently released. So there was a lot going on there. People were kind of upset because Killer Instinct was originally going to be ported to the Nintendo 64. Actually even states that in this game, but it never made it. 64 kept getting delayed and delayed, so they released this in for the Super Nintendo, which is a great game, a great port, the only port we got, but it still doesn't even hold a candle to what the arcade game is. So when Killer Instinct 2 came out, they really tried to push the buttons, push the envelope, and take it to another level. However, it just didn't really succeed as they thought, and I don't know if you want to call it a flop, but the game is definitely not as popular. Now, Killer Instinct Gold for the 64 did come out, and that was the game that we got that is pretty much an exact port of this, and it's amazing. I mean, I love it. I love this game, don't get me wrong, but for me, the go-to games, or go-to game rather for me, would be the first Killer Instinct. This one has a much more complex combo system, but if you can master everything, it is much more of a game than Killer Instinct 1, that's for sure. A great game. I'm really happy to have both of them, the family here, in my collection. Great game here. And then of course, sorry about the camera being way back there, but we have here, you can barely see it. I'll bring the camera down and show you guys. This is Tetris, an Atari Tetris, and actually, if you can see, this is a Mario Brothers wide body cabinet, 2-player cabinet, and this is an Atari Tetris. So I have that too. Who doesn't love Tetris? And I can talk more about that in later videos of how this all kind of came to be. It's kind of a love-hate thing with me, you know. It's a Mario Brothers cabinet, but Tetris is in it, and it's just kind of one of those things that I finished off. It was kind of a job half done, and I just finished it, so. But anyway, so that is some of the arcade games. I'm gonna go ahead and get a closer look at the games and show you guys kind of what they look like up close. And next up here is Tetris, an Atari Tetris. This is a Mario Brothers cabinet, 2-player cabinet. And this is an interesting one. It's kind of a love-hate with me. I love Mario Brothers, I love Tetris. It's almost, I don't know. Every time I look at it, I feel like it should be Mario Brothers. And I looked, when I picked this game up in 2009, and I looked for a good 3-4 months for a good working board, and just couldn't find one. And it was half complete. So when I got this, it had the board, it had a really shitty marquee. It was all cracked and messed up, but it had the shitty marquee, it had side art, and it had the control panel overlay, which is on upside down. Can you believe it? So it's on upside down, but I wanted to finish it off, but I couldn't find a board, and Tetris was halfway there, and I looked up Tetris, and actually, you know, it's rare to find the arcade, an original Atari arcade board of this, so I thought, what the hell, I'll just finish it off. So I got a screen overlay here, I got a new old stock Atari marquee, and I got all new T-molding and just went through and just finished it off. A lot of cool stuff with this one, I'll talk about it, but it's a really cool game, and I'm just glad to have, you know, a good old Atari Tetris here. Pretty cool. And here we are in my garage looking at Sega's Virtua Racing from 1992. I am so happy to have this arcade game in my possession. Something about the flat shaded polygon games I'm just really a fan of. I just love them. I don't know, the way that they look, maybe it's just, you know, the era of video gaming at the time. I was young and impressionable. Either way, I just love the way that they look, and I love the way this game plays. It's a racing simulator, and it's not easy to play. It really takes some mastering to figure out. But Virtua Racing fans will notice some changes on this cabinet than others that you may have seen. And I'll get into all the specifics, and I even did some modding down there. You can see some speakers and this and that, pretty cool. But this is a Japanese one, Japanese version. You see there's a start button there. And what's different here, this is really, I love this, look at that, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, so awesome. What's different on this one is that the USA has an actual like dashboard made out of plastic and I believe fiberglass that actually comes out on both sides, where this is completely flush and it's just a decal. So that's neat. It just makes it kind of low profile and really slick. I like it. I guess, and a lot of the ones I've seen, the US versions, those are always cracked and damaged and broke, and I know it's difficult to keep, you know, in good condition from 1992, but still pretty cool. But yeah, this is Virtua Racing. Very cool game. I love that it's in my collection. And get you a nice shot of the side art here. Real simulation, man. And there you have it, you guys. Stay tuned for other parts of these videos. I'm going to talk about these in depth. So thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the weather. If it's sunny, later. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jason Heine. Thanks for tuning in with me again. This is off to a great start. It's been a while, all right?